What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. Live your best life. You must live label free. As always, bringing you great guests from all over. So sit back, relax, and tune in. My next guest is a food and travel blogger chef, a speaker, content creator, and digital strategist. Please welcome Chef Dennis. Chef Dennis, I'm super pumped for this conversation. Welcome to the show.
So am I. Thank you, Deanna. Thank you so much for having me on today. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, so I love to cook. I love to cook. I've always my mom cooked when I was little. She taught me how to make bread, cookies. I was always by my mom's side in the kitchen. So I'm really looking forward to hearing about your career as being a chef and now what you're doing today, because you are a retired chef and culinary instructor.
That's right. That's right. I'm not retired chef. Every time I say that, someone corrects me and says, "You're still a chef." I just don't cook for many other people. It's usually
Right.
just a select few. Although I do have a Patreon page, and I think I have it for $10,000 that I will come cook for you. So no one's took me up on that yet.
Wow. Good for you.
but but No, I had the opposite upbringing. My mother was a nurse. She worked nights. She didn't like to cook. She found no joy in it. Of course, because my father was English, Irish, and what he liked to eat was a lot different than
Yeah.
my mother was Mexican, Spanish. So from what she liked to cook and eat, and so there was no love in food. I mean, she worked a lot. So I realized at an early age that if I cooked my own food, I got to eat more often. And as one person said, I was a nice round boy as a child. I'm still kind of round now, but back then, you know, I looked like I like to eat. I still do.
Yeah. No, I love to eat too. There's nothing wrong with that. But so when I take retired chef, meaning is that you don't cook for like an establishment.
Right.
You are your independent chef. So you can say retired chef from like that whole corporate machine.
Right.
And now you're doing you're really doing what today's world is all about. So
Yeah.
how can tell us, and I don't want to sound judgmental, but I think a lot of people in our different age brackets have a hard time embracing the social media world. I love it. I think it's an incredible tool, and I love to hear people's stories that have used it to become successful from. So how did you get into that? How did you make that transition?
It was difficult. When I started my blog, it was as a resource for my culinary students. The last place I worked at was an all-girls high school, and I had 600 high school girls that I fed every day. And I decided at one point that I needed to start a culinary program so I would have help that was already there, and I didn't have to hire temps, and I could give back to the school at the same time. It was a win-win for me. So at that point, I started delving into social media, and I was entering it late, and I had made friends around different parts of the world, and they were big in social media. And I was like, oh, it was a trickle. I was on Twitter back when it was really the only conversation it has was you would tweet and you would wait and watch the stream and watch the stream. Then someone would answer, the guy, and you'd have a conversation that would take maybe 20, 30 minutes to get
Yeah.
it was like being outside of the planet and waiting for the time difference to come with the message being shuttled in. um, but that was fun. Facebook, I was on there and I didn't get it and I didn't really like it, and I didn't have a following. And Pinterest, let me tell you, when I got my Pinterest invitation, I thought it was spam and I got rid of it. And then I spent like 3 months begging for another invitation once I found out what it was.
Oh,
uh,
wow.
I know. So I was a little late to that. So I was kind of late to everything. And then Google decided that they would enter the arena with their grand experiment of Google Plus.
Yeah.
And it was a level playing field. And the summer it came out, I was on there and I had found my people.
Yeah.
I had found my tribe. I was laughing. I was listening to music. When it first came out, it was just wonderful. And I kind of got sucked into that hole from Google, and actually became Google's power user in the Philadelphia area.
Get out. I don't even know
Yeah.
what that is. So you're telling
Well,
me something I don't even know about. I don't have
this
any.
was Google. It's gone. It's been gone for a
Oh,
while.
okay.
But Google Plus was their grand experiment, and I'm referred to as a live streaming pioneer because I was live streaming when it was so difficult you didn't even want to think about it.
Oh, wow.
Uh, I held the first virtual conference that ever was.
Good for you. That's
I
amazing. How
I
long
did
was that?
that was back in 2000 and ooh, I want to say 8 or 9, 7. So it was I forget when it was. I actually held three one year after another, but I was actually working with Google a bit. They would call me and ask advice on how to do things. And I'm like, the first time Google wanted to talk to me, I was Ed Grimley. I was running around the house going,
Yeah.
Alex Trebek wants to talk to me. Yeah. That's how I felt. And after a while, I was actually yelling at them. I said, you can't do that. That's not how it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
I had turned the tables on and they were listening and they were taking notes. And I was like, just amazed me. But I was using Google like Google wanted. So they actually rewarded me and put me on a follow page with Anthony Bourdain, Rachel Ray, Martha Stewart, Emerald Lagasse, Chef Dennis. I'm
That's
like, oh,
huge.
I know. So I amassed I amassed over 1 million followers on Google Plus.
Oh,
And
wow.
and I had done at that point, I had 3 live shows going at one time. I had a variety show. I had Illusions of Grandeur, and it was called Good Day Google Plus, and I'd have 3 or 4 guests on from different walks of life, and we would just talk about what they did. I'd have music on. It was a variety show. I had a magic act on once, I think. It was just crazy. And then I had my cooking show, and I had a travel show. So it was just a lot of fun. But that really taught me how to be in front of people because before
Yeah.
then I was really bad at public speaking.
That's a
And,
skill. That's
yeah,
good.
and videos. Like I remember my first television appearance. I went on and I said, I've never done TV before. And afterwards, they were going, "You have to be kidding me." I said, I've done about 1,000 videos though
Yeah.
live, so I guess that counts for something."
For sure. I mean, it teaches you how to be. I mean, I know when like the selfie thing got real big, and now it's like you kind of are required to know how to take a selfie, or people doing lives on social media. Like
Oh yeah,
I was very uncomfortable with it myself, and
oh
you just
yeah,
to get to a place where people love it when you're just being yourself. They don't care, because you're your worst critic, and you're gonna
yeah.
pick out all the flaws, but most people aren't gonna really gonna be able to tell.
No,
So congratulations on all
thank
that.
you. Thank you.
Well,
Yeah, it's been a fun ride. And like I said, so then once I learned that, I started adapting to the other social platforms. And then as anything came out, I signed up. I took my name, and it's a lot of them just went by the wayside. I am on TikTok, but I think I have 5 videos on it because it's just not my wheelhouse right now with everything else going on. I know I should do it, but it's just, I keep saying, I'm retired. I just want to watch Netflix today,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So,
It gets tedious. I mean, I know because I'm posting on all of them, for the podcast and for
yeah,
my guests. So I get it. Um, so tell us about being a
yeah.
travel blogger. That has to be fun.
Oh, that was wild. One day, a friend of mine down in Orlando, I was living in Florida at the time. This blog maven, Best Hour, she was just incredible. Said, Dennis, this hotel's looking for some bloggers. Why don't you apply? And I said, I'm not a travel blogger. They don't want me. Why would I do that? She goes, just apply. So
Yeah.
I did, and I didn't hear back. And then finally, I got an email saying, "Oh, we'd love to have you. We have one room left. We'd love to have you there. And actually, it's a big green egg fest." So, have you ever heard of Big Green Egg?
Is
It,
that like for
it
no, maybe I
it's for
have. Okay.
barbecuing,
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, I've seen it.
and it's like a cult.
Oh, is it
And
really?
those, oh yeah, but it's a happy cult because all they do is feed you all day. It's like the kind of cult you could get behind.
Yeah, right.
Because everybody's seeing what different things they were making breakfast on it, lunch on. I mean, they were out there cooking almost
Oh,
24/7. And then every now and then they pass around here. I made some moonshine, Chef Dennis. Want to try it? I'm like, okay.
yeah, sure. Why not?
You
Let's get
know,
happy.
but I discovered how easy it was if you wrote about a place that they would take care of you, treat you really nice, send you there. And because I had food blogger statistics, I had a lot of social media. I was getting a lot of page views to my blog.
Sure.
Travel bloggers don't. They're so used to writing for travel magazines. They
Yeah.
don't make a lot of money. Their blog isn't important. Their social media was not it. They're
Yeah.
so busy pumping out these little articles to make a living that they don't get to do any of that stuff. So I show up with almost 2 million followers, and all these page views, and they're going, "Oh my God, we struck the mother lode," and they
Yeah.
were sending me all over the world. The point where I realized I could do it was at that hotel. We had on the third floor. We had the last room. It wasn't a great room, but they had started remodeling and they put in 9-foot sliding glass doors that opened to the ocean.
Oh, wow. Beautiful.
So I'm standing there with this great view and I'm looking and going, I can do this. I can write about it and they will send me there. So then, I just started, Viking wrote to me and said, you made our demographics. And my first thought was, yay, I'm old, okay, thank you for that. But they treated me like royalty. And my wife would look at me and go, who do they think you are? I don't know, but I'm loving it. But,
Yeah,
it was
sure.
it was my social media presence. I mean, I had a lot of eyes. I did one trip for a travel company, Colette Travel, and they were actually having a conference. A friend of mine was there. She goes, they are talking about you live on the stage because you're posting. And I got them over 1 million impressions on this trip for things I had posted. So they were like doing little happy dances all over the place.
Power of social media.
Yeah.
So are you still actively being a travel blogger?
I am getting back. I'm getting ready. COVID happened when I had the trip of a lifetime. Every trip is a trip of a lifetime is what it was amounting to. But we were going to Sicily for a conference, and then we were going to Rome to spend like a week just on a Rome, going to Croatia and getting a cruise all the way around Italy, and then going to Nice and taking another tour in Nice. So this was all set up, and COVID reared its ugly head and just shut things down. And we had another plan. So that, and then I actually had a knee replacement. I had back surgery. I'm back to being healthy again, and COVID's turned into a bad cold, which is fine. It is what it is. And so I've made plans starting for spring. We're getting back out and traveling again. So
that's exciting. That's
exciting. Yeah.
Does your wife go with you everywhere then?
She does. She doesn't always want to. And sometimes I have to twist her arm. And when she's there, she just loves every minute of it.
Yeah.
And I try to remind her of that. She says, remember, you didn't want to go. You didn't want to go. You're loving it though, aren't you? And she says, yeah. So, and I do some trips just for her too, that I normally wouldn't want to take on my own, but I know she'll appreciate it or she'll enjoy it more than I will. And people, some of them understand, the truth of it is, if she doesn't come, if you only want me to come and you don't want to pay for her or let her come along, you're not going to get a good story.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
You're not going to get good story because I'm not going to be happy. And if I'm not happy, it's going to reflect.
Aw, that's sweet.
Yeah, no, it's the truth. If I can't share it with her, if I can't enjoy, and then she'll ask the questions that I don't think to ask or don't want to ask. And I'll be going, oh my God, why are you asking that?
Yeah.
And then later on, I'm happy she did.
Yeah.
So, she just says that she completes that travel picture where food, she knows absolutely nothing about it. But with travel, she can be a big help with things. And she takes pictures of me. And strangely enough, people want to see me when I'm out and about doing stuff. It's like, okay,
That's real life though. You're setting up this ideality that, this trip could, give them this quality of life and just showing them just the realness of what you and your wife are doing. Does she understand the social media aspect of things?
She understands it. She knows it's important. She doesn't like it. It's not important to her. She was a teacher, and the only reason she really uses social media is basically what it was intended for when they started was for your family and friends. Before it became the beast that it is.
Today's episode is brought to you by honeylove. Ladies, let's talk about shapewear. We all know most shapewear makes you feel like you're being suffocated. That sexy dress in the back of your closet is so freaking cute, but the thought of having your insides squished by your shapewear is just not worth it. That's why honeylove spent years researching and developing effective shapewear that's actually comfortable. Overly tight, cheap, and sticky fabrics that roll up are a thing of the past. Thanks to honeylove, you can finally feel confident and comfortable in your favorite outfits. We have an exclusive deal for our listeners. For a limited time only, you can get honeylove's best deal they offer. Get 20% off your entire order with the code labelfree20 at honeylove.com. That's right, ladies. Get 20% off of your entire order with labelfree20 at honeylove.com. So my fiance, I'm getting remarried, and he's like, he doesn't get the social media thing either. Like, I'm like, this is my business though. This is a big part of my business because I do it for the podcast and I produce another podcast. And so like I manage their social media as well. And I'm like, I have to be on there, and then thinks that, there's trolls. There's
Oh
trolls on
God,
social
yeah,
media.
big
And
time.
so I don't know if she pays attention to that, but my fiance, he pays attention. I'm like, they are harmless. If
Yeah,
if they say anything disrespectful, I
yeah.
get blocked.
Oh
You know,
yeah, yeah.
so but it's funny.
Oh yeah, yeah, and that's how she kind of doesn't understand, that that's what it is. It's just they're harmless to a point. I mean, granted, there are a lot of crazies out there, and you never know which one
Oh
isn't going to be harmless. And I had a big problem with this on Google Plus because Google Plus was worldwide, and there were a lot of like third world country men that were kind of just not real. They were over friendly, but not in a
yeah.
good way, And I would tell the women, trust me, they're not going to come up to your house on a camel and say, I'm here for your lady parts. It's not going to happen. I said,
Oh my
so
god.
just block them and move on.
Yeah,
That's all you have to
exactly.
do.
Exactly. Well, they can be pretty convincing. I mean, I remember when I
Oh
first started
God,
getting those
yeah.
messages, I was like, whoa. But we digress. So
Yes, yes.
you are so with the food, do you also include the food piece when you're traveling? Is that a part of
Oh, I do. I write more about the food than I do the destination's important.
yeah, for
But
sure.
I had one guy call me out and said that he visited 6 UNESCO sites and didn't mention them. All he did was talk about the food he ate. And I'm like, well, yeah, everybody knows those are UNESCO sites and knows they're there, but they want to know what you're going to eat, what you're going to drink,
Yeah.
where you can visit, what kind of experiences you can have. So while I'll use some beautiful pictures of wherever I am or the facility that I'm at. To me, it's about what they got to eat. It's
Yeah.
because a picture's worth 1,000 words. And that's why I gained popularity because again, the destination people knew, like the cruise people knew it was there, but let's see what a chef does and what he likes to eat and how much he enjoys the food. Or they sent me to this resort, Lucerne sent me to this resort, Birkenstock, and off on this. Oh my God, it was just blew me away. And again, they're feeding me like there's no tomorrow. And that was another point. My wife goes, "Who do they think you are?" I go,
Yeah.
"I don't know," but it's crazy because I write about the food. I take good pictures of the food.
Yeah.
I have strong social media.
Yeah.
So that was always my best aspect of travel blogging. It wasn't, you won't come to me because I'm going to show you how to use points for travel. You
No.
won't come to me because I'll tell you which is the best room on the ship. You won't come to me for those things. But when you want to know what kind of experience, and especially an older couple will
Yeah.
have traveling, was it easy? I did an adventure cruise with Uncruise, and I was worried because I wasn't real mobile.
Yeah.
And they take you out on those little skiffs and stuff. It was so easy to get on and off. They did it
Oh,
so
good.
well. There was not a bother in the world. So I can tell my readers, that are older, says, well, you're going to eat really, really good on this ship. Let me tell you, number one, and they're going to take you to places that you're just going to go, wow. It's just amazing.
So you have a very powerful influence. What's one of your favorite trips that you've taken with your
Oh,
food and travel blogging career?
oh, I loved, every trip is magical to me. I think my favorite city will always be Paris because that was the first city my wife and I ever went to. We were basically country bumpkins at that point. And and we were supposed to go to Florida. Everything, it was for the holidays. Everything was booked up. Flights were crazy expensive. I asked the travel agent, that's how long ago it was, where
Yeah.
can I go for $400? He says, give me a minute. And he calls back, says, you want to go to Paris? And I
Wow.
went, I think I do. Let me call her. And we'd been dating for 4 or 5 months at that point.
Yeah.
So she said, "Do you want to go to Paris?" So besides that being the first place, it's always been magical. And once you get over the Parisians being Parisians, it is
Yeah.
such a wonderful city.
Yeah.
And it's so good. So that will always be my favorite. My second, Portugal, Lisbon.
I heard
Lisbon.
the food, and I
Oh,
hear it's so delicious. I would love to go.
Lisbon rocks. I mean, the language is bizarre because you think you're listening to Russian and Spanish at the same time.
That's a good way to describe it.
Yeah, the first time I heard it, I had to come over. Says, "Excuse me, what are you speaking?" This was somebody was working on my house. There were two work craftsmen, And he goes to a Portuguese one. I couldn't figure it out. First, I thought, oh, it's Russian or one of those islands. And then I'm like, no, it's Spanish. No, it's not. So, yeah, but
Interesting. Yeah.
they speak English. They really, and they're such friendly, happy, warm people. And the food is good. Like you said, it's inexpensive. You can really get
Oh,
a lot of, oh yeah, a lot for your money. Yeah, but again, any place that I've traveled to, as long as I'm nice, not the ugly American,
yeah.
I treat them respectfully. Portuguese, I learned a few words, but not much. But I usually try to learn enough of the language that I can get around if I have to.
Yeah.
And you try, and it'll hurt their ears, like the French, especially. Oh, please stop speaking French. You're killing me. Let me speak English. It's like, I love them. They're my favorite people. I really do like them. Uh, and Italy, anywhere in Italy, but Madrid was a great city too. I digressed a little bit. I loved Madrid.
Yeah.
It was hot, but boy, it was like being in the United States. I think that's why. But with all these other things, these Spanish things
Culture.
going on. Yeah. But the
Yeah.
people were just like us. They dressed like us, they were just speaking Spanish. That was the only thing.
Yeah. I mean, I love the idea of experiencing all those different cultures. With that being said, where can people find you, connect with you, and learn more and follow your travel adventures?
Well, I am Ask Chef Dennis on all of the social media. It's real easy to find me. So on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn, just look for Ask Chef Dennis. On my blog is coincidentally askchefdennis.com. So, I'm pretty easy to find. If you Google Chef Dennis, I should fill the first few pages, and then some other random Chef Dennis's will show up. So
I love it. You guys, I'm going to put those links in the show notes. So if you are intrigued and want to learn more about what this incredible man is doing, traveling all over with his beautiful wife and experiencing all these great cultures, go check him out on follow his pages. That's the best thing you can do. And then go check out his blog at askchefdennis.com. Well, Chef Dennis, this is the part of the show where I like to ask for last words of wisdom or advice. So what
sure.
would you like to leave with us today?
Well, my best advice to anyone who wanted to do something was, if you don't try it, you'll never know if you'll succeed. A lot of people are afraid to come out of their comfort zone and do anything. I don't know why I ever became a blogger, but if I hadn't done it, I look back and go, where would my life have gone? Where I would not be living like this. It would not be experiencing, it's just, if you don't try something, you never know if it'll work or not. And if it doesn't work, you get up and you try something else. It's not a big deal. But to never have tried is the worst thing someone can do.
Yes, I love that. Boom. All right. Well, Chef Dennis, this has been so much fun talking to you. I'm excited to see your next new adventure and your traveling escapades with your wife. So I'm going to be watching you on all the social media. So thank you for sharing your story with us today and all the wonderful things that you're doing.
My pleasure, Deanna. Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. You guys, this is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. Live your best life. You must live label free. Please don't forget to subscribe, follow, rate, review, comment, share, all those good things. And I'll be back soon with more dynamic guests.